The Oscar slap exposed Will Smith's mental breakdown where he nearly lost his entire career. But for Jada, it saved her marriage. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signor, and just when you thought Jada Pinkett Smith couldn't get any more insufferable, she goes and released this. I missed this on Friday. I'm a couple days late, but I see a lot of people still reporting on this, that yeah, she's still out there talking about the marriage and everything else and how she'll never leave Will Smith. Just notice right out the gate how controlling it is. Like, well, it's her call. This marriage is going to be together no matter what. She's never leaving him. That's something Will always said. But Will's been a little bit more quiet recently, and now it seems like Jada's picking up the slack. Now out there first saying, I'm not with them, and I'm with, entanglements, yada, yada, yada. We're not really together. We were separate, divorced, but not on paper. But now it's, I'll never leave Will. Yeah, well, because you're nothing without him. Can you imagine if she did leave Will? How, desperate she'd be? I mean, I'm sure she'd make a ton of money because apparently he didn't sign a prenup. Idiot. But all of that aside, yeah, of course you're not going to. That's your bread and butter, dude. Even a canceled Will Smith is more worthy than you'll ever be. And I know you go out in your book and talk about how you found whatever, but you're never going to be Will Smith. And that's the problem, I think, in this marriage. She goes on to say, even though they have separate homes, and how the Oscar slap saved my marriage. This part's going to make you so frustrated, so I hope you're sitting down. If you aren't already and you like these updates, make sure before we even get started, you are alerted. Hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for all alerts. I hope we've earned it. Hit that like as well. And let me know your thoughts as you're watching, because that engagement helps these videos get more attraction. I'm trying to do other stuff from Meghan Markle. We got to spread it out. And you can go over Popcorn Palace for more of that coverage if you're missing it. But here we go. Let's listen to Jada's latest. I nearly didn't even attend the Oscars that year, but I'm glad I did, says Pinkett Smith. I call it the holy slap because so many positive things came after it. Now, I want to pause for a minute because this is the slap. That literally was like a man broken live on worldwide television where everyone's like, what? Was that a bit? What did he do? And then you heard the unedited, unmuted version. Keep my name out your mouth. The whole thing was like, we were watching a mental breakdown live on television, and it was scary because this was Will Smith, Mr. Fresh Prince, happy-go-lucky global movie star, Hitch, who doesn't do this sort of thing. You'd never would think would put himself in the crosshairs of some sort of drama like this. Even though the red table constantly tried to put him there, he was always buttoned up as this big global movie star. And here he was, exploding his career live on stage while he's winning an Oscar. And it was tough to watch. And as we learned more, as he got over his hubris and everything else, knowledge that he was wrong and admitted to it. And clearly, as we've watched all these videos of Jada forcing him on her Instagram posts and talking on the red table and entanglements, it became clearer and clearer as we dissected why did this man break down. It all seemed to stem from his wife, who was constantly invading his private life, crossing those boundaries, exposing vulnerability that didn't need to be out there. For a man that was so private, this blockbuster movie star, she kept wanting to reveal such personal details, as well as emasculate him every step of the way. So yeah, as we watched, we started to see how awful this was. And it was awful. Smith talks about it poorly, and sure, maybe he found himself in certain ways, but he nearly lost everything. But she's calling it the holy slap because of all the positive that came after it, I guess, for her. Keep my wife's name out of your effing mouth. Obviously, we know, but this was the moment that remade their marriage, so she says. The moment after the S hitting the fan is when you're going to see where you really are, she says. When you see where you really are, after all those years trying to figure out if I would leave Will's side, it took that slap for me to see I will never leave him. Who knows where our relationship would be if it hadn't happened. Look how many eyes are in that. That slap of him defending her, where he didn't even say, he just said her name, and now she's trying to play like it wasn't her responsibility in the first wave of interviews, and now it's I'll never leave him, where you see where you are, I'll never leave his side, who knows where our relationship would be if it hadn't happened. Truth is, near a 30-year union was in crisis. Although in Smith's Oscars outburst, he referred to Pinkett Smith as his wife, it later transpired they had split up 6 years previously, as far back as July 2020. The couple revealed all in the entanglement stuff, as we know, with August Alsina. This is how a friendship unfolded that much later and very unexpectedly turned romantic, she writes in Worthy. Pinkett Smith is so frustrated by the bad press she received, not to mention the sympathy for her ex, that she dreamed of being a werewolf, tearing her husband to shreds and eating him. Yes, that's unworthy. 2 weeks after our interview, a man claiming to be Will Smith's former personal assistant said he walked in on the star with Duane Martin. Smith called it false. I'm not here to discuss Will's journey, she said firmly. The point is, at the time of my entanglement, Will and I were not together, but he just wasn't ready for our split to be revealed. The reason I addressed it was that the entanglee had spoken about it. Alcina released that song Entanglements, which included the lines, "You left your man just to F with me, just to pay him back." And I wanted to confront that. It was my mess and I took the bullet for it. And even as you see in those lyrics, you left your man just to F with me, just to pay him back. Who ended it, Jada? Let's keep it real. Who ended it? Was it Will or was it you? So of course you'll never leave him because you were never gonna leave him. He left you, it sounds like, at that point. As Pinkett writes in her memoir, there have been a lot of bullets, real and figurative, flying around in her life. She talks all about the drug dealing past, which I don't even know if I believe it. And then she goes into her interview meeting Fresh Prince on the set of Fresh Prince. But she thought Will was too cheerful. Yeah, I was like, why does this dude find everything so funny? Knocking him yet again. When you're carrying a burden from your childhood, it's sometimes hard to understand other people's joy. We're meeting in the photo of London. Pinkett Smith looks tiny in a bulky Ford puffy jacket. Let me get to the other part. Sorry, I'm looking for the next interview because I don't want to recap whether she's worthy. We've established this already. The Worthy opens 14 years in their marriage with Pinkett, age 40, planning to take her own life by driving off a cliff. My thinking was, I'm sorry, sir, but our relationship, you can no longer be human. That passage was tough for my friends to read. They now know they were by my side while I was thinking the suicide has to look like an accident so the children aren't traumatized, and I don't want to be injured. It has to be final. And when Will read that part, he was like, damn. But did you really? I don't know, man. Did you really? Or is this all to play victim? That's kind of what her MO has been this whole time. Her 3 children must have been shocked to read how unhappy she was. They already knew. I know there are pros and cons to being a parent, being honest, but my parenting is very open. I've always said to my children, I'm your mother, but I'm also a human being. Before reaching that nadir, she'd already tried an astonishing array of therapies. Tiger Woods taught me, she says, he's a very good coach. Of course, Tiger Woods taught her, huh? Spiritual connections is just about mediation and saying, it can be about connecting with a ball. But it was a friend recommending ayahuasca. There she is talking about it, her son. I love how this whole interview, she's still changing the whole story again. She said it was her son who did it, but now it's a friend because her son was underage. She experienced something incredible. She's experienced something incredible in that where she never felt suicidal again. Plant therapy, she calls it, trying to justify that's not drugs. Apparently then earlier this year, the children underwent that experience together and the children loved it. I love how she's saying the children love the drugs. Trey is into it the most. He's on this real spiritual quest. Lovely. Jesus Christ. In the memoir Spare, Prince Harry talked about it too. They are fundamental helping him deal with the traumas. I love how all these rich, spoiled, crazy, unhappy people are finding happiness through drugs and then expecting us all to be like, oh yeah, good for them. Good for them. Jesus, are they? It's interesting. Smith's home is an hour away from Montecito. No, but I didn't know they did that. Good for them. To be fair, there's no suggestion Megan has tried them, but can a psychedelic experience really fix a relationship? Smith's choice of men is a theme and worthy. What category does her husband fall into? Intellectuals? Roughneck bad boys? Will is all those things, she swoons. He's got it all. The slap certainly seems to have revived things. 2 weeks before we met, the couple and their children appeared together publicly in an event in Baltimore, where Smith called it brutal, their relationship. And Pinkett Smith is already planning a follow-up. No prizes for guessing who the co-author will be. Lovely. They're going to write a book together. Will and I plan to write one called Don't Try This at Home. He has been on a journey. I've been on a journey. We want to write something where he puts the male side, I put the woman's side, and these universal issues are resolved. Oh yeah, they're so resolved, you two. My goodness. She lives her life as an urban nun. She forswears sex, alcohol, shopping, and entertainment, depicting video violence. She spends time mediating and reading passages from the Bible, Quran. The simple life is best. When you simplify your interior landscape, you need less. This is quite the change and worthy because obviously she sounds rather high maintenance. My first concerns were who the concierge of the hotel was. Jeez. Yeah, this is a long, long piece that keeps going. But I wanted to focus on those first initial parts because this is all, again, towards her spin. The control and spin of her brand being adjusted again when I think these opening lines are most telling. She's saying the slap saved her marriage, meaning it kept her in his radar. It sounds like Will was ready to leave. But no, the slap forced him to lose everything, and she saw that weakness, as she's always had, and she twisted it even further and stood by her man. To call that the holy slap because the positive that came from it, you mean selfishly that he wasn't going to leave you because you sucked beforehand? I don't know, man. This is just even more gross to read. It makes me feel even more so for Will because, again, my problem is just the million different versions of this story that she keeps trying to tell. She's always trying to keep it straight, but as Hodokabe called, you're not always straight, are you, Jada? You're always a little sneaky. And I just don't buy any part of her story anymore. No interest, no way. And I wish Will Smith would wake up and actually follow what he was going to do, which is move on to a life without her. What is holding him? What's keeping him? Well, who knows? We'll stay tuned. I wonder if more will be told in the weeks to come. Hit that bell, hit that button as well. Make sure you hit the bell and the thumbs up to keep the engagement and leave a comment. What do you think? Do you believe all this? Do you think the Oscar, I mean, she's probably telling the truth. Do you think the Oscar slap saved her marriage and that he was maybe on his way out? But then when he lost it all, he realized, I guess she's by my side. Did she trick him again? I want to know your thoughts down below. What do you think of her calling it the holy slap? Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more here on Popcorn Planet.